very good. I'm starting. This is David Thomas, Chairman of the Legislative Committee. Glad to have everybody here with us. And if they're, I don't think they're in person, but by phone or video, I call the meeting to order. It is approximately 3:08. We're a little bit late, having trouble with some of our technicals, but we have present. Let's see if the members of the committee will identify themselves so that we'll know who is present.
Commissioner Rawlinson from Florence is present.
Commissioner Ed Miller, present in the room.
Commissioner Gary Lamel, sitting ex officio.
And David Thomas is present. We have a bunch of staff, and thank you, staff, for showing up. Constance, are you there present, or are you on the phone?
I'm here present.
All right, very good. Constance, Kimberly is there, Susan, Mary, and Christy, and Audrey. Boy, we are staffed up. On the items, I hope you have your basic agenda in front of you. We will be covering a statement of announcement in just a minute, the adoption of the agenda, the regulations that we'll pick up, which will be in Article 3, Article 5, Article 7, and Article 8, then the schedule of the public hearing, and then adjournment. So the statement of announcement, Kimberly, please.
Thank you, Chairman. A meeting notice announcing the date, time, and place of the January 14th, 2021 Legislative Committee meeting was distributed on January 12th, 2021 to appropriate media and other groups or individuals who have requested notification. The announcement and agenda were posted on the Department of Disabilities and Special Needs Central Office Board and on the website. The public has been notified that accommodations such as interpreters, mobility assistance, or other assistance will be provided to individuals with disabilities and special needs if requested in advance.
All right, Kimberly, does that conclude the statement of announcement?
Yes, sir.
All right, without objection, we'll roll on to adoption of the agenda. I've already read off the regulations for review. Does anybody have a problem with taking those up at this time and scheduling the public hearing? No objections? If no objections, yes? Did I hear someone?
So, without objection.
All right, without objection, we've adopted the agenda. Let's move on to regulations for review. Now, Constance, were you taking this up for Kimberly? Which one was going to go where on the various articles?
Kimberly was taking it up.
Yeah, and then Susan and Constance they'll add as needed.
All right, that's fine. Go ahead. Who wants to lead off, Kimberly or Constance?
I'll take the lead. So first on the agenda is Article 3.
I tell you what, excuse me, I apologize. Identify yourself so that we'll know who some of us are just by phone. Just identify yourself, and then you don't need to ask for permission. Just say this is, and then lead in. Thank you. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. This is Kimberly. So the first one on the agenda is Article 3, and this one we will completely repeal this because it's outdated because we no longer have recreational camps.
Right, let me read that. Let me read it off. Recreational camps for persons with intellectual disability. That is currently a reg. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And your proposal is to simply strike that as a regulation, and so you will see the lines completely through the article, which means that we're removing that. Let me quickly ask a question. Does the removal of this regulation impact anything that is in progress by way of dispute with any participant? This is not in the middle of some lawsuit or something where removing the reg could raise questions. Is that correct? This is not muddying the water for anything, right?
That is correct. This is simply taking something off the books that we no longer do.
All righty. Anybody have questions? Anybody have questions? Staff or anybody? Commissioners, of course. Mary, you got a question?
Nope.
Mary's fine. All right, without objection, we're adopting the, recommendation, and, Article 3, the proposal is that that be struck as a reg. Without objection, that's adopted. Let's go to Article 5, which is B under regs for review. Well,
Okay, this is Kimberly again. Articles 5, 7, and 8 they came out of that settlement agreement that we discussed in the last meeting with P&A now disability rights.
Yes, disability.
Yeah, now disability rights. And so what they wanted was for us to take some of our directives and actually put them and create new regulations. So Article 5, it spells out our eligibility determination information, and this will be a new article added to our regs.
all right, this settlement agreement thing has been in the works for a long time, correct?
Correct.
All right, this is, now I've got a copy of this, and I hope the group got a copy. This is Protection and Advocacy for People with Disabilities Incorporated plaintiffs versus South Carolina Department of Disabilities and Special Needs and all defendants. And then the caption says settlement agreement. It's civil action number 07 CP 402187. Let me read it again. Civil action number 07 CP 402187 in the Court of Common Pleas. Was that in Richland County? Yeah, that's Richland County. So that's that's what's moving us on some of these things, as well as Kimberly, read that thing off that the House wanted us to, or was it the House wanted us to do?
Well,
Who was helping propel or asking us to propel some things a little? The Legislative Oversight Committee, excuse me, that's what it was. But it was the House of Representatives is the seal on this. So a lot of the driving force for what we're discussing is that settlement agreement, and then the Legislative Oversight Committee, the study of the Department of Disabilities and Special Needs put out November 2, 2018. And I don't know if everybody got a copy of those things. If you didn't, I would appreciate it if staff would make sure everybody on the commission gets a copy of that, not just because we'll be bringing that up in the full commission meeting, okay? Is that all right?
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, our Article 5 then does what?
Article 5 spells out our eligibility determination. So individuals, it has their definitions. Susan, do you want to chime in? Because you know these backwards, forwards, left, and right.
Sure. So this is Susan Beck, and I wanted to just add that this draft regulation is based upon an existing directive that's currently on the website that we use routinely, and really just outlines our process. As Kimberly said, definitions and criteria for eligibility determination. It's Directive 100-30. So there's really not any sort of new process or new criteria or new definitions beyond what's currently in place.
All right, so this doesn't in any way muddy the water on anything that is currently out there. It basically is saying we've been using this as a directive, and now we've been asked to put this in reg form, and so it moves from being the directive to a reg, which carries the weight of law. Correct?
Correct.
Yes. All right. I think you've given us the highlights. Did any of the commissioners, any of the committee members, subcommittee members need any more amplification relative to what's in front of you? I don't know if y'all are speed readers or when you got your packages or your downloads or whatever, but I'll give you just a few seconds if you want to kind of glance through and see if there's anything that pops out. If nothing, I'm going to waste time, but if there's not anything, without objection, then we're going to adopt this and move on to the next. Without objection, give it a few seconds. Without objection, All right, we have adopted that regulation. Let's move to the next one, please. Article 7.
Okay, Article 7 outlines the appeal procedures, and these are just for the department. They do not apply to anything with appeals for DHHS. These are only appeals that, for state-funded community supports, follow-along case management, respite, residential rehabilitation, and family support services. And once
So
again,
so what is the appeal process then? I mean, you have like, if there's a negative determination, what do people have, 10 days, or tell us about it.
okay, let me find it.
Susan can
Okay.
tell you.
Yeah.
Sure, so on my page 2 of this
Is
regulation.
this Susan, who is this we have?
Oh, I'm so sorry, this is Susan, they called me, so I immediately started talking.
Okay, no, I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's okay, I'll get it. So on page 2, it under 88-715, it outlines the specific appeals procedures. So step 1 is a written appeal within 30 days of the denial of any of those decisions that Kimberly already stated thoroughly. It outlines where to send the appeal, that the next step is review, and then a decision will be made if that's the case for those applying for eligibility. And then similar processes are also in place under Section B for denial, suspension, reduction, or termination of services. And that concludes the entire draft regulation.
All right, this only has to do with appeals within the Department of Disability and Special Needs, correct? We don't have anything to do with any other appeals that would be like eligibility for Medicaid, eligibility, right?
Correct, sir. This is Mary. This is only for reduction or termination of a service solely funded by the department.
All right, good. All right, so when we hear about appeals, everybody needs to be aware it's only the appeals intra-department, in our Department of Disability Special Needs, because there's all kinds of things around us where there may be appeals, but we're not responsible for that. And as we looked at this and discussed it, I and some of the staff yesterday, I wanted to make sure the commission members know, the subcommittee members understand that there's no way we can deal with other appeals. So that's their world, this is our world, and I asked the staff to designate this every time they talk about it to say DDSN appeal, so that we're not confused about that somebody out in the world may think, oh, well, you handle that appeal over there. No, that's a different department. So our discussion here is only about appeals intra-DDSN.
Commissioner, this is Susan again. May I just ask one additional thing about this? I just wanted to affirm as well that we currently follow appeal procedures, and those are outlined in an existing directive, much like I previously stated about eligibility, Directive 53511, which again is published on the website. So it's consistent with those regarding DDSN appeals.
All right, anybody have any questions? Anybody, any subcommittee members, non-subcommittee members that want to participate, or any staff have a question? Anybody have a question? Now, by the way, this is not the adoption of the reg. We'll get into this rather tedious but necessary process in just a little while about scheduling public hearings, how it has to be posted, how it has to go to the full commission. Everybody gets another bite at the apple, and certainly the public is going to have time to review anything and give their opinion, objections, or anything else, because we certainly want to clear up any problems pre-submission to the legislative and its process, legislative bodies and the processes that are necessary for the adoption of the reg. So this is almost like the first initiation, you could call it that, or the first step into the water for promulgating a regulation. Lots more to come. All right, we'll go over dates and times like that Okay, we've adopted Article 7, I believe we adopted without objection, did I not? Without objection, Article 7 is adopted. Article 8, and we're finished with the regs, and then we'll go into the schedule for public. Okay, Article 8.
Article 8, research involving persons eligible for service. Once again, like Susan said, with 5 and 7, this is based on a directive that is already being adhered to by the department. So, Susan, if you want to, do you want to talk about the article?
Sure, Kimberly stated what I was going to say, good. 53509 is the current directive entitled Research Involving BDSN Resources and or persons receiving services from or staff employed by BDSN. Review and approval is lengthy, but it is parallels this regulation to that directive currently in place.
Okay.
And so the Article 8 just offers definitions, and then the review and approval of research proposals, the functions of the committee. It talks about protections of rights and welfare of research participants, which is our goal. Any details about our expectations for publications that once some research is published, that BDSN would receive a copy of that. And there should be a specific statement involving that research with individuals from BDSM. And that's the regulation.
All right, any of the commission members or subcommittee members have a question, or any of the staff have a question or comment? Any questions on Article 8? Excuse me. Okay, if there are no questions, then that concludes Article 8. Without objection, Article 8 is adopted. Number 5, let's move on to that. Which of staff have we assigned to cover the schedule issue?
Okay, I'll take that. Again, this is Kim. Okay, so our next steps with these articles, since they have been approved by the committee, they will go for approval by the full commission on the next commission hearing, or commission meeting date, excuse me. So once that happens, and once the full commission approves them, we will publish them in the state register, and that publication date is February 26, 2021. Did someone have a question?
I had a question about and when we discussed it before, I kind of got a little bit confused. When is there a public hearing?
Okay, so a public hearing cannot be held sooner than 30 days from the date of publication. So the first date that we could have a public hearing is Sunday, March 28th, 2021. My suggestion is that we held a public hearing on Monday, March 29th. Commissioner Lamel, it's good that you're on because this is something that we need to discuss with you. If you're okay with us, if you're okay calling a special meeting in order for us to hold this public hearing. Otherwise, if we include it in the April commission meeting, that won't be until the 28th, because the March commission meeting is on March 18th, and that's within that 30 days. So the March 18th commission meeting is too soon to hold the public hearing. But if we do it during the April commission meeting, then that puts us back a month getting these regs to the legislature.
Yeah, I think pursuant to the bylaws, we can certainly discuss having that. And I feel like it's appropriate to set it on the 29th of March.
Thank you.
So just make sure we have that. I mean, this item will be on the agenda, but just make sure that we cover having to see if we have the commission basically agree to have that meeting on the 29th for that purpose.
Okay.
And have we, and I just interrupt, since I think that I have to run that, that was at least my understanding before. Has there been any discussion of the mechanism at that point in time, considering where we'll be with the COVID and everything like that?
Yeah, we'll be working on solutions to the public comment
Okay.
as far as some sort of viability of a virtual public comment.
Okay.
I think we can figure it out. Although
All right,
we could
let's, yeah.
we could-
At a minimum, since we've got that meeting on the 18th of March, we need to have some sort of essentially report of how we're going to conduct that meeting on the 29th.
Okay.
I'd request, so.
Here is an actual public hearing, and Kim, is it necessary to have a public hearing if there has not been request for a public hearing from the public after you post it?
Well, we have to schedule the public hearing, and that's part of what will be published in the February 26th State Register. So we'll have to say, on this date, we will hold a public hearing. Now, if we get to March, that Friday before, and no one said anything, or no one said, I want a public hearing, because they do have to ask for it. So, and the requirements is that an individual, at least 25 individuals, a government entity, or an association with 25 or more members has to, in order for us to have the public hearing. And I just looked on Disability Rights website, and they have exactly 25 employees. So, and with the settlement agreement and these articles being associated with that settlement agreement and their organization, I'm fairly certain that they will request that public hearing.
Okay, all right, so we've decided on the date then for the public hearing, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, so the 29th is the date?
Yes, sir.
All right, is there any, I'm not sure if that calls for a question or if it's a determination since we have the chairman present and that's been decided. Does anybody have a problem with the 29th? Is that okay with everybody? For the public hearing?
This is Commissioner.
All right, and here's no problem or objection from anyone about that.
Commissioner Thomas, I'm sorry, Commissioner Miller had a comment.
Yeah, I just have a question. Is it any special time of the day that this meeting will take place?
No, we can, if you have a time preference, we can certainly.
No, I just wanted to make sure that it didn't have
It's not a week.
okay.
Yeah, Commissioner Lamel here. Typically on Mondays, afternoons are going to be better than the mornings for me.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right, the outcome of the time question that the commissioner asked is what, to determine a time for the meeting. So the staff have a recommendation for a time of day on the 29th.
3 p.m.
3 p.m. it is, and without objection, it will be the 29th, 3 p.m. for the public hearing. Any problems with that from anybody? If no problem with that, then without objection, we'll adopt all the above. Okay, the staff have all that? Everybody okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, then we're only talking about the schedule of public hearing, and we just adopted that. Is everybody on board at this point with where we are in the agenda? We've adopted the sitting ahead the regs on 3, 5, 7, and 8. We've set a time for a schedule for a public hearing, and that concludes the agenda unless somebody has something that they want to actually correct. We're actually concluded, but I'm listening for somebody to say, wait, there's a problem in what David Thomas just said. Nobody speaking up? All right, I appreciate everybody coming, all the commissioners. Gary, thank you so much for being present. Constance, Kimberly, Susan, Mary, Christy, and Audrey, we had a lot of help trying to get us all operational and everything, and we have super staff, and I appreciate you all so much, and commissioners, thank you so much. And having concluded the agenda, I declare the meeting hereby closed. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.